The standoff lasted exactly 17 minutes. The alien fleet, facing impossible odds and superior technology, began powering down their weapons one by one. Commander Vex was the first to break. Admiral Collins Vex's voice carried none of his earlier arrogance. "We accept your terms. We'll withdraw from human space immediately." War Chief Drax's massive voice rumbled over the communications channel, but even he sounded defeated. "The Drakmari Alliance agrees to withdraw. We did not understand the true situation." Counselor Zara's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been embarrassment. "The Kellery Federation will also comply with your demands."
Admiral!
Collins watched the alien fleet begin to form up for retreat. Captain Lisa Morgan reported from her station on the Vindication. "Admiral, all alien vessels are powering down weapons and moving to withdrawal formation. Several ships are requesting medical assistance for crew members who collapsed from shock." The human fleet maintained perfect formation around the retreating aliens. Every movement was coordinated and precise, showing a level of military discipline that impressed even their former enemies. Jake Harrison monitored alien communications from his intelligence post. "Admiral, their fleet commanders are having heated discussions with their home governments. Several alien leaders are demanding to know how their intelligence services missed our true capabilities." Dr. Amy Foster analyzed the retreating fleets. Status: their morale appears to be completely broken. Many ships are reporting to their commanders that they want no part of any future conflicts with humanity. On Zentari Prime, the Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Delegates from 47 species shouted at each other in dozens of different languages. The carefully maintained order of galactic civilization had been shattered in less than an hour. Alina Martinez stood at her small podium, no longer isolated in the back corner. Every alien delegate was listening to her now with respectful attention. "Honored members of the Council," Alina said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber, "humanity wishes to join the galactic community. But we will join as equals, not as subjects." The Nexari representative, still floating in his mechanical suit, bubbled nervously. "Ambassador Martinez, your species has demonstrated capabilities that our scientists believed were impossible. How did you develop such advanced technology?" Alina smiled. "We did what humans do best. We adapted. When we realized we were not alone in the galaxy, we dedicated everything to preparing for contact. Our best scientists, engineers, and military leaders worked together for 30 years. She gestured to the display showing both fleets near Earth. "We studied every signal you sent, every piece of technology you revealed, every military tactic you used in your own conflicts. We learned from all of you." An older delegate from a species Alina didn't recognize stood up slowly. "You have been preparing for war against us for 30 years? "We prepared for the possibility of war," Alina corrected. "We hoped for peace, but we planned for conflict." Today's events prove that our caution was justified. President Charlotte Davis, monitoring from the White House Situation Room, authorized the next phase of Earth's emergence as a galactic power. "Admiral Collins, you have presidential authority to establish formal diplomatic relations with any peaceful alien civilizations. Make it clear that Earth is open for business, but only with species that respect our sovereignty." The alien fleet's withdrawal took 6 hours. As they left human space, their commanders sent detailed reports back to their governments about what they had witnessed. The reports would reshape galactic politics for generations. Commander Vex, safely aboard his retreating flagship, recorded his final assessment of the encounter. "The humans are not primitive. They are possibly the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Their technology exceeds our own in every category. Their strategic planning and patience are beyond our understanding." He paused his recording and looked back toward Earth, now just a small dot of light in the distance. "We came here to teach them a lesson about galactic power. Instead, they taught us one." War Chief Drax's report to the Drakmari High Command was even more direct. "Do not engage the humans in combat under any circumstances. They have weapons and ships that make our best technology look like children's toys. Any military action against Earth would result in the complete destruction of our fleets. The Kalari Federation's response was more diplomatic, but equally clear. Counselor Zara's message to her government included detailed technical analysis of human capabilities. The humans have achieved breakthrough technologies in stealth systems, propulsion, energy, weapons, and defensive shields. They have also demonstrated tactical coordination that suggests extensive military training and preparation. As news of the confrontation spread throughout the galaxy, other alien civilizations began reviewing their own intelligence about Earth. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive suddenly wanted to establish trade relations. Admiral Collins received his first official diplomatic contact request. Within 12 hours of the alien fleet's withdrawal, it came from the Altarian Republic, a peaceful trading civilization that had not participated in the attempted intimidation. Admiral Collins, the Altarian ambassador's message began. The Altarian Republic wishes to establish formal diplomatic and trade relations with Earth. We have always believed that technological capability should be matched with wisdom and restraint. Your species has demonstrated both. General Kevin Martinez, now revealed as the director of humanity's secret military buildup, spoke with reporters for the first time about the Shadow Fleet program. For 30 years, we've been building and preparing in secret, he explained. We used automated construction facilities in the outer solar system powered by solar collectors and fusion reactors. Every component was designed and tested in hidden laboratories. Reporter asked how such a massive program had been kept secret for so long. By compartmentalizing everything, Kevin replied, most of the people working on the project only knew their small parts. Only a few dozen individuals knew the full scope of what we were building. Jake Harrison found himself promoted to Director of Alien Intelligence, a position that had been created just for him. His first report summarized humanity's new position in galactic politics. We are no longer the primitive species hiding in one star system. Every major alien civilization now considers us a pure-level military power. Several species that previously ignored us are requesting formal diplomatic contact. Dr. Amy Foster was appointed to lead humanity's new Advanced Technology Research Division. Her job was to continue developing improvements to Earth's already impressive military capabilities. The aliens know we're strong now, she explained to her new team, but they don't know exactly how strong. We need to keep that advantage. Lena Martinez received a promotion to Earth's first galactic ambassador. Her new office came with a much larger staff and a budget that reflected humanity's new importance. The galaxy is going to be very different now, she told her team during their first meeting. 47 alien species just learned that appearances can be deceiving. They're all going to be much more careful about making assumptions. 6 months later, Earth had formal diplomatic relations with 31 alien civilizations. Trade agreements were bringing new technologies and resources to human space. The Galactic Council had offered Earth a permanent seat with full voting rights. Admiral Collins, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, stood on the observation deck of the completed Vindication. Through the viewports, he could see the orbital shipyards where humanity's fleet continued to grow. Captain Lisa Morgan joined him at the viewing window. Sir, do you think they'll try again? Some of the more aggressive species might decide to test us. Admiral Collins smiled as he watched a new human cruiser conducting its trials in the distance. Let them try, he said. We've spent 30 years preparing for the last confrontation. Now we have all the time in the galaxy to prepare for the next one. Earth had taken its place among the stars, not as a conquered territory or protected, primitive world, but as an equal partner in galactic civilization. The species that had mocked humanity's apparent weakness now respected theirs, demonstrated strength. The age of human galactic power had begun. It started with a simple lesson that would be remembered for generations. Never underestimate a species that knows how to keep its secrets until the moment they matter most. 60 hours after the alien ultimatum began, the situation looked hopeless. The massive alien fleet had spread out around Earth like a giant net. Their ships covered every possible escape route from the planet. On the bridge of the Vorthok flagship, Dominion's Edge Commander Vex watched Earth through his view screen. The small blue planet looked so helpless, surrounded by his powerful fleet. This would be easy. Communications Vex ordered one of his officers. Open a channel to the human planet. It's time to end this. The transmission reached every radio. And television on Earth, Vex's insect-like face appeared on screens around the world. Humans of the third planet, your time is finished. You will now see what happens when primitive species challenge their betters. Prepare to learn your place in the galaxy. But instead of hearing desperate pleas for mercy, Vex received an unexpected response. The signal came from somewhere in deep space, not from Earth's surface. Attention, alien fleet. This is Admiral Peter Collins of the Earth's Defense Force. You have entered human space without permission and threatened our people. You have exactly 10 minutes to begin leaving our system. Vex's mandibles clicked in disbelief. War Chief Drax's voice roared over the communication channel from his own ship. The humans have lost their minds. They dare to give us orders. But experienced military officers among the alien fleet noticed something disturbing. The human admiral's signal wasn't coming from the planet below. It was coming from somewhere beyond their sensor range, on the bridge of a ship that didn't appear on any alien scanner. Admiral Collins stood calmly as his crew prepared for battle. Captain Lisa Morgan reported from her station. Admiral Alien. Weapons are powering up across their entire fleet. They're getting ready to attack. As expected, Admiral Collins replied. Signal all units. Operation Righteous Fury begins now. Throughout the solar system, space itself seemed to change. What the aliens had thought was empty darkness suddenly shimmered and twisted. Shapes began to appear where nothing had been before. Alien sensors went crazy as contact after contact appeared on their screens.
Oh.
These weren't the primitive chemical rockets they had been watching. These were advanced warships that seemed to bend light around themselves as they became visible. Jake Harrison, serving on Admiral Collins' flagship, provided updates as more human ships revealed themselves. Stealth destroyer groups Alpha, Beta, and Gamma are decloaking. Carrier groups Nemesis and Retribution are launching fighter squadrons. The alien fleet's confidence collapsed as their sensors registered ship after ship appearing around them. The humans hadn't just hidden few vessels. They had concealed an entire fleet that matched their own in size and seemed far more advanced. Commander Vex stared at his tactical display in shock. How is this possible? Where did these ships come from? His sensor officer, a younger Vorthok, with trembling claws, replied, Sir, they were there all along. Our scanners never detected them. Their stealth technology is beyond anything we've seen. The human ships that emerged from hiding were unlike anything the aliens had encountered. The flagship that Admiral Collins commanded was called the F's Vindication. Its hull seemed to shift and change as different weapons systems became visible along its surface. Dr. Amy Foster, now serving as the fleet's science officer, analyzed the alien response from her station on the Vindication. Admiral, their formation is breaking apart. They're trying to reorganize into defensive positions, but they're clearly unprepared for our actual capabilities. The human warships moved in ways that should have been impossible. Instead of using rocket engines like normal spacecraft, they seemed to push and pull space itself to change direction. They accelerated without any visible thrust, turned without losing speed, and moved in patterns that made alien physicists question everything they thought they knew. General Kevin Martinez, commanding the defense platforms hidden throughout the solar system, reported successful activation. Admiral, all planetary defense grids are online. We have targeting solutions for every ship in their fleet. The aliens found themselves surrounded by nearly 200 human warships, each one representing technology that their scientists said couldn't exist. The tables had turned completely. Counselor Zara, still monitoring the situation from the Galactic Council chambers, whispered in amazement. How can this be real? Our intelligence reports said they were centuries behind us. Elena Martinez, watching from her diplomatic post, finally allowed herself to smile. Did you really think we would show you our best technology before we knew? What kind of neighbors you were? Humans have always been good at keeping secrets when we need to. War Chief Drax tried to rally his fleet over the communication channels. All ships maintain formation. It cannot have more firepower than our combined fleets. But his own tactical officers were reporting disturbing news. The human ships were armed with weapons that their computers couldn't identify. Energy readings suggested power outputs that should have been impossible for ships of that size. Captain Lisa Morgan monitored the alien fleet status. Admiral, several alien ships are requesting permission to retreat. Their captains are asking for safe passage out of the system. Admiral Collins opened a channel to the entire alien fleet. His voice was calm but carried a tone that made even War Chief Drax pay attention. I believe we were discussing corrective measures. Perhaps you would like to reconsider your position. Commander Vex found himself in an impossible situation. His fleet was surrounded, outgunned, and completely outmaneuvered. The species he had come to punish was demonstrating military technology that exceeded his own by decades, possibly centuries. Admiral Collins, Vex said, his earlier arrogance replaced by nervous respect, there appears to have been a misunderstanding. Perhaps we can discuss a peaceful resolution? Misunderstanding? Admiral Collins repeated. You brought 800 warships to my home system. You've threatened my people with corrective measures. You demanded our surrender. What part of that was a misunderstanding? The alien commanders had no answer. They had based their entire attack on the assumption that humans were primitive and helpless. Yet every piece of intelligence they had gathered supported that conclusion. Elena Martinez provided the explanation they were all desperate to hear. For 30 years we have been watching you, she said, her voice carrying to every ship in both fleets. We've studied your languages, your technologies, your military tactics, and your diplomatic methods. We wanted to understand what kind of civilizations we were dealing with. She paused, letting that information sink in. We kept our real capabilities hidden because every historical example we could find showed the same pattern. Advanced species either destroyed or enslaved primitive ones.
Ow.
We needed to know if you were different. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by human warships that had appeared from nowhere. Their crews struggled to understand how badly they had misread the situation. You have been watching us for 30 years, Commander Vex asked quietly. Jake Harrison nodded from his post on the Vindication. Every transmission, every military exercise, every technological development. We have been very careful students. Implications were staggering. The humans hadn't just been hiding their strength. They had been actively studying their potential enemies, learning their weaknesses, and preparing countermeasures for everything the aliens could do. Admiral Collins made the offer that would change galactic politics forever. Your fleets will leave human space immediately. In return, we will begin formal diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council as equals, not as subjects. War Chief Drax, his pride wounded but his survival instincts intact, asked the question that was on every alien mind. And if we refuse? Admiral Collins smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. Then you will learn what corrective measures really mean when applied by a species that has spent 30 years preparing for this exact moment. 3 days after Elena's warning at the Galactic Council, alarm bells rang across every human space monitoring station. The aliens had stopped talking and started moving their fleets. At Cheyenne Mountain Deep Space Command Center, technician Ryan Brooks watched his screen with growing worry. Red dots were appearing everywhere on the star map. Each dot represented an alien warship, and there were hundreds of them. Sir Ryan called to his supervisor. We're tracking massive fleet movements from 3 different alien empires. The Vorthok, Drakmari, and Kalari are all moving ships toward our solar system. Colonel Amy Foster rushed to Ryan's station and looked at the display. Her face went pale as she counted the contacts. How many ships total? Over 800 confirmed contacts, ma'am. And they're all heading straight for Earth. The command center erupted into controlled chaos. Officers ran between stations, gathering data and preparing reports. This was the moment they had all trained for, but hoped would never come. Admiral Collins arrived within an hour, bringing with him a team of senior officers that most of the center staff had never seen before. Among them was General Kevin Martinez, Elena's brother and director, of something called the Orbital Defense Initiative. Report Admiral Collins said as he walked onto the main floor. Colonel Foster pulled up the tactical display. Sir, we're tracking 812 alien warships in 3 separate fleet groups. They're not trying to hide their approach. This appears to be a deliberate show of force. Admiral Collins studied the screen carefully. Each alien ship was larger and more heavily armed than anything Earth had ever built, at least according to public records. The math was simple and terrifying. Time to arrival, the Admiral asked. 72 hours at current speed, Colonel Foster replied. General Martinez stepped forward. Admiral, we're getting calls from governments around the world. They want to know if we should start evacuation procedures. Admiral Collins was quiet for a long moment, staring at the approaching alien fleet. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm and steady. Not yet. We need to maintain appearances for a little while longer. Before anyone could ask what he meant, the communications array lit up with an incoming transmission. The signal was being broadcast on every frequency that humans used for radio, television, and internet. The main screen flickered and then showed the bridge of an alien warship. Commander Vex of the Vorthok Empire appeared, his forearms spread wide in what might have been a gesture of authority. People of Earth, Vex's translated voice echoed through the command center. I am speaking to you from the flagship Dominion's Edge. We represent the combined fleets of the Vorthok Empire, Drakmarie Alliance, and Kalari Federation. The image switched to show the massive alien fleet approaching. Earth, even the most basic viewer could see that humanity's public military forces were completely outmatched. Your species has shown disrespect to the Galactic Council, Vex continued. Your ambassador made threats that cannot be tolerated. We are here to teach you proper behavior. Jake Harrison, who had been recalled from his monitoring post, worked frantically to translate the alien commander's full message. What he heard made his blood run cold. Admiral, Jake said, they're giving us 72 hours to surrender completely to Galactic Council authority. After that, they say they'll begin what they call corrective measures. The message spread across Earth's communication networks within minutes. News channels interrupted regular programming to show the approaching alien fleet. Social media exploded. With panic, anger, and desperate questions about what humanity could do, in the White House Situation Room, President Charlotte Davis met with her national security team. The mood was grim as military advisors explained just how outgunned Earth appeared to be. Madam President, said Secretary of Defense Paul Grant, every computer simulation shows the same result. Our conventional forces would be destroyed in hours, maybe minutes. Around the table, cabinet members argued about whether to surrender immediately or try to negotiate. Some suggested that maybe the aliens would be merciful if humans gave up without a fight. President Davis listened to the debate for several minutes before turning to Admiral Collins, who had remained silent throughout the discussion. Admiral, what are our realistic options here? Admiral Collins looked around the table at the worried faces of America's leadership. Then he opened a classified folder that he had been carrying. Madam President, I believe it's time to tell you about the Shadow Fleet program. The room went completely quiet. Several cabinet members looked confused. They'd never heard of any Shadow Fleet program, and they thought they knew about all of America's military projects. Explain, President Davis said. Admiral Collins stood up and activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. For 30 years, ever since we first detected alien radio signals, we've been preparing for exactly this situation. The hologram showed technical drawings of ships that looked nothing like any human vessel anyone in the room had ever seen. They were sleek, advanced, and covered with technology that seemed impossible. The ships and weapons the aliens have observed represent less than 5% of our actual military capability. Admiral Collins continued. Secretary Grant stared at the hologram in disbelief. How is this possible? Where did the funding come from? Where are these ships built? The funding came from black budget programs that most of Congress doesn't even know about, Admiral Collins replied. As for construction, we've been using automated facilities in the outer solar system for decades. General Martinez added his own explanation. We've been studying every alien transmission, every piece of technology we could observe, every military tactic they've used in their own conflicts. We spent 30 years developing countermeasures for everything they have. President Davis studied the holographic ship designs. They looked like something from a science fiction movie, but the technical specifications seemed real enough. "Many ships are we talking about?" she asked. Admiral Collins smiled for the first time since entering the room. 217 active warships plus support vessels. Each one is equipped with technology that surpasses anything the aliens have shown us. The cabinet members exchanged shocked glances. America's military leadership had been keeping the biggest secret in human history, and they had done it successfully. "For 3 decades, why keep this hidden?" asked the Secretary of State. "If we had this kind of power, we could have joined the galactic community as equals. Because we needed to know what kind of neighbors we had," General Martinez replied. "Every first contact scenario we studied ended the same way. Advanced civilizations either destroyed or enslaved primitive ones. We had to know if these aliens were different." Admiral Collins pointed to the tactical display showing the approaching alien fleet. "Now we know. They're not different. They're bullies who think might makes right." President Davis made her decision. "Admiral Collins, you have presidential authorization to use whatever resources you need to protect Earth." As the meeting broke up, Admiral Collins received a priority message on his secure communicator. It was from Colonel Foster at Cheyenne Mountain. "Admiral, the alien fleet has reached the edge of our solar system. They're taking up siege positions around Earth." Admiral Collins looked out the window at the afternoon sky. Somewhere up there, hundreds of alien warships were preparing to attack his world, but they had no idea what was waiting for them. "Signal all Shadow Fleet units," Admiral Collins said into his communicator. "Operation Silent Thunder is now active. It's time to show our guests what humanity is really capable of in hidden bases." Across the solar system, ships that had been waiting in darkness for 30 years began to power up their engines. The aliens thought they were about to teach Earth a lesson about galactic power. They were about to learn a lesson of their own. Jake Harrison stared at the massive screen in front of him. The view showed the Galactic Council meeting room on Centauri Prime, planet far from Earth. 47 different alien species sat in a huge circle, talking about humans like they were children playing with toys. Susan Blake, his partner at the monitoring station, shook her head as she listened to the alien voices through the translator. "They really think we're stupid, don't they?" The translator crackled to life as a tall, insect-like creature with 4 arms began speaking. This was Commander Vex of the Vorthok Empire. His voice sounded like clicking metal when he talked. "At these humans," Vex said, waving one of his arms at a hologram of Earth. "They still use chemical rockets to get to space. Their biggest warship can only carry 6,000 people. We had better ships than that 1,000 years ago." Laughter filled the council chamber. The sound came from dozens of different alien throats, creating a strange mix of noises that made Jake's skin crawl. A crystalline being that looked like living glass stood up next. This was Counselor Zara of the Kellari Federation. "Our scouts tell us they just learned how to send messages faster than light," Zara said, her voice sounding like wind chimes. "Their weapons are simple metal bullets and basic energy beams." "How primitive can you get?" More laughter echoed through the chamber. Jake felt his hands clench into fists. He had spent 3 years on this monitoring station, watching these aliens talk about his people like they were animals in a zoo. In the council chamber, Ambassador Alina Martinez stood up from the human section. She was the only human allowed to speak at these meetings. Aliens had given her a tiny space in the back corner, like she was not really important. "Honored delegates," Alina said, her voice steady and calm. "While Earth may seem less advanced than your worlds, we have qualities that should not be ignored." The clicking laughter of the Vorthok filled the air again. Commander Vex pointed one of his sharp claws at Alina. "What qualities could a species stuck in one star system possibly have? You have no colonies on other planets. You cannot crack worlds open like eggs. You cannot bend reality to your will." A massive reptile creature covered in oiled dark scales slammed his staff against the floor. This was War Chief Drax of the Drak-Mari Alliance. His voice rumbled like an earthquake when he spoke. What could you possibly do against real military? Power, Drax roared. Your people hide on one small planet while the rest of us rule entire sectors of space. Back on Earth, Admiral Peter Collins sat in his office at Global Defense Command. He was reading reports from the monitoring station while his aide, Captain Lisa Morgan, brought him more files. Sir, Lisa said, setting down a stack of papers. Our deep space sensors are picking up alien fleet movements. Multiple species are moving ships toward our area of space. Admiral Collins looked at the star charts on his wall. Red dots showed where alien fleets were gathering. There were a lot of red dots, and they were all moving toward the yellow dot that marked Earth. They think we're helpless, Admiral Collins said quietly. They have no idea what we've been building for the past 30 years. Lisa looked confused. Sir, what do you mean? Admiral Collins smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Captain, what do you know about the Silent Wars? Nothing, sir. I've never heard of them. That's because they're classified above your level. But if these aliens keep pushing us, that's going to change very soon. Back on Zentari Prime, the council meeting was getting worse for humans. Gaseous being floating inside a mechanical suit was speaking now. This was Representative Knox of the Nexari Collective. I think we should make Earth a protected world, Knox bubbled through his suit's speakers. These humans show some promise, but they clearly need guidance from more advanced species. We should put monitoring stations all around their system, Alina. Martinez felt her diplomatic training being pushed to its limits. The people of Earth are not subjects for your experiments. We are a free species with the right to make our own choices. The council chamber erupted in what sounded like alien laughter again. Commander Vex clicked his mandibles together in amusement. You cannot even protect your own asteroid belt from space pirates. What would you do if a real military force decided to take your system away from you? The question hung in the air like a challenge. All 47 alien species were looking at Alina, waiting for her answer. The human ambassador straightened her shoulders and looked directly at Commander Vex. Suppose we would have to show you, Alina said. The laughter in the council chamber stopped suddenly. Several aliens looked at each other with confusion. Commander Vex's forearms twitched. Show us what exactly, Vex asked. Alina smiled. It was the same kind of smile Admiral Collins had worn in his office on Earth. Show you that it's dangerous to assume you know everything about a species you've barely studied. War Chief Drax stood up, his massive form towering over the other delegates. Are you threatening us, human? Not at all, Alina replied calmly. I'm simply stating a fact. You've observed our public military forces and our civilian technology. Observation from a distance doesn't always tell the whole story.
Counselor?
Zara's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been irritation. What story could there possibly be? We've been watching your species for 5 years. We know exactly what you're capable of. Elena's smile grew wider. 5 years? That's interesting. We've been watching you for much longer than that. An uncomfortable silence fell over the council chamber. Several aliens shifted in their seats. The idea that the primitive humans might have been observing them was clearly not something they had considered. Jake Harrison was grinning at his monitoring station. He had trained with Alina before she became an ambassador. He knew that look. On her face, she was about to drop a bombshell. You see, Alina continued, humanity has always been good at one thing above all others. We're excellent students. And we've been studying all of you very carefully. Commander Vex's mandibles clicked nervously, studying us. With what? Primitive sensors. Oh, we have much better sensors than the ones you've seen, Alina said. We've been listening to your communications, watching your military exercises, and analyzing your technologies for decades. We know more about your capabilities than you might think. The council chamber was completely quiet now. The aliens were starting to realize that maybe they didn't know as much about humans as they thought they did. War Chief Drax's voice rumbled with anger. Even if that's true, what difference does it make? Knowledge without power is useless. You still have only a handful of primitive ships. Alina Martinez looked around the council chamber, meeting the eyes of every alien delegate who would look at her. That's what we wanted you to think, she said.